Let's see. Hi, I'm spinning 2 plates. One girl keeps asking if I am dating other girls. Should I tell her about the other girl? If so, is it a good way to tell her? Okay, so here's the thing: is when a woman asks you about like, are you seeing other women? Imply with your actions. I have a chapter in the first book. It's called Dijo sin hablando, which means I'm probably butchering that, but it means speak without speaking or having spoken. Right? Speak without speaking. There's ways to communicate that to her, like you need to be the kind of guy who you don't have that conversation with in the first place. Say, hey, look, I'm not. You can make it this. You can make it as vague as this. I'm seeing other people. Yeah, until things settle down. So I'm just playing the field, just seeing what's available. I got a vet. If you could say this, you could be responsible about it. You go, well, I'm looking to be married in the next 4 years. And I'm really kind of like looking, I'm exploring my options. Maybe that's a good way. I'm on my journey of self-discovery and I haven't really found myself and I haven't found the right girl yet. So you use women's words against them, or you could just agree and amplify too. That's a good way to sort of like, I mentioned this. I think it's Iron Will of Tomasi number 2. It's like when women ask you how much, like, what's your body count? Like never give them a real answer, or lean into it and just agree and amplify. So one girl keeps asking if you're dating other girls. You go, yeah. Like, oh, I don't know, probably like 30 right now. Just like lay into it, just lean into that side. When women start asking you about that stuff, they're hinting that they want exclusivity. And I know if you have 2 girls, you shouldn't have 2 girls. You should have at least 4. You should have at least 5, right? Or considerations for 5. Does that mean you're fucking all of them? No, it doesn't. It means that you're you're exploring your options, just as women explore their options. You have to be. Women have standards. Men need to have standards too. And one of those is dating non-exclusively, like fucking adults. So just because you start dating this girl does not imply exclusivity with her. So when you're spinning plates and women ask you this question, and by spinning plates, I mean dating non-exclusively. That's just the red pill colloquialism. I don't mean that, oh, he thinks they're actually how dehumanizing. It's just a reference point. Okay. It's best to either like laugh about it, like be vague about it, or say, hey, look, if you want to be above board and provided that you're willing to sort of let this one go, just say, hey, look, I see a lot of girls. You don't have to say, ask if you're seeing other girls. You say, hey, I see a lot of girls, and just leave it at that. And if she has a problem with that and she falls off, then she falls off. See, that's what a lot of people, when I talk about plate theory, and plate theory is really just, I mean, probably should name it something else. It's really just dating non-exclusively. It's like having a roster of girls. People say, oh, you're a player, blah, blah, blah. No, how come women can have a roster of guys and be able, they call that prudent, right? Oh, I got to pick from the best one. Well, guess what? Times have changed. It's the 21st fucking century, and men need to date non-exclusively as well, not serially, like being a serial monogamist, right? Not serially. They need to be non-exclusive. Does that mean that you're lying to them or manipulate? No, absolutely not. It's got to be 100% above board. And if she's not down with that and you're dating, that's it. What was it? That line from the Breakfast Club is like, are all these your girlfriends? And then Bender's like, some of them I consider girlfriends. Some of them I just consider. That's really the attitude that you need to have. And if you're high enough value, and I hope that you are, YOLO, then either she's going to bail and you accept that she's going to fall off, or she's going to be like, okay, well, I guess I better up my game. If there's basically what is it? It's a frame grab, but it's also a value exchange in all of that. Am I valuable enough for you to want to stick it out with me if there's other girls in the running? By the way, when you do that, it's going to stimulate competition anxiety and probably urgency and probably some jealousy. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's a good thing. I think it was Mystery who said this, is that women cannot fall in love with a guy, or they can't feel they can't have an emotional investment in a guy until they feel jealousy for that guy, because that means they have something to lose. I'm like, when I throw this out there, like when I've said this before, I'm just repeating Mystery in this case, right? I even asked him about this when Mike was interviewing him. I said, I asked him about the jealousy thing, and he's still 100% down, right behind that. It's kind of like when I wrote about dread in the first and the second book. Dread, I hate using the word dread because it has such negative connotations, but what really explains it as well is when women think that you have other options, they either fall off or they up their game. And that's where you want to be. You want to be in the position where they're upping their game, so that they're fighting for your attention, so that they're competing with other girls that they might not even know at all. It could even be just your job, right? If a woman wants you that bad and she doesn't get your attention, and it's not other women, it could be just your job that's taking you away from her. There's going to be at least a sense of jealousy. So jealousy is a good thing when it's in that phase. Okay. So women cannot fall in love with you, and they cannot feel an emotional investment with a man until they feel jealousy for that guy. So the way Mystery sort of describes it is sort of in the moment, right? So if you go and you invest in a girl, and you do an approach, you're starting to develop a rapport with her, there's attraction, there's arousal between the two of you, and you do a push-pull tactic or whatever. I forget what the name is, right? You do a push-pull kind of thing, and then you move off to another girl, deliberately move off to another girl in the same social occasion. And that if that girl follows along and tags along, you can see noticeable like signs of jealousy in her. Like, you have to watch for the nuances, of course. But if you see that notable jealousy, or she's trying to pull you away from that girl, she's invested. And that's that's short term. Like, if you're with a woman and like she doesn't feel jealousy for you, what are you even doing?